David Reinhardt with Geekenstein Media, and I'm here with
David Gates with Osiris Studios.
And we're here checking out Mist of Stagnation, your multiplayer first-person shooter. Now, first off, you guys have made a steampunk first-person shooter. How did you arrive at that decision?
So steampunk's always been a big passion for a lot of us here. I mean, it's before it was technically called steampunk, I guess. You know, anything like Mad Max, BioShock, obviously a huge influence for us. But you know, the main thing we're looking for is practical steampunk. So instead of it being like the fantasy steampunk, which most games have, where it's just, you know, put a gear on a hat and now it's steampunk, we actually, all the mechanics in the game, like the environments, the weapons, they could all exist in the real world just because we put a lot of attention into that detail.
Now, Mist of Stagnation, unlike a lot of first-person shooters, is trying to also blend RTS elements, sort of. How are you guys implementing that system?
So the way that we're trying to make it work is that it's going to inspire a lot of teamwork. So each team has the commander, which is that huge steampunk mech, and in that commander, you're assigning your team objectives like controlling control points, taking out enemy strongholds, basically kind of just almost the God view, but you're in the first-person world, so you're vulnerable yourself. So there's two resource systems. You have the control points. Those give you resources for the commander to upgrade your weapons and buy different types of weapons for the team. And then there's also a morale system, which when people are following the commander's orders, that's a different set of boosts. So things like health increase, speed boost. So that way, even if your team's just getting slaughtered by the other team that has better first-person shooter players, if you're following orders and you have good synergy going, now your team can basically overcome that.
Now, the commander unit can't attack at all.
So he can, but he's a very defensive player, not very offensive. He only has some melee weapons, very strong one-hit punch. One of the commanders has like a saw blade on his arm, the other one has a huge ball and chain hooked up to him. But yeah, they're meant to be more strategic. So they're not meant to be out there on the front lines. They can take a lot of damage, but yeah, ultimately you don't want your commander to die. So
now, how are you trying to, like, you know, implementing the resources? Because I mean, the resources in the matches we played were actually pretty difficult to like build up and upgrade. Are you guys like constantly testing that out and trying to figure out exactly like the perfect place to get it?
Exactly, yeah, and that's where a lot of play testing comes in. It's really just finding that balance of how much things should cost, how much resources you should get, and it's really just a balance to make sure that the rounds last an appropriate amount of time and it stays challenging but fun.
Now here at PAX, you're showing off the 3 airship map,
right,
and the capture point game mode. What else do you guys have in store for further development?
Sure. So one of the maps, actually the first map we started working on, it's a mining camp, and it's pretty awesome. It's a huge village. It's one of the faction's main home, and I mean, all sorts of awesome Mad Max type steampunk references in there. Like one of the generator there is a huge airplane wing that got cut off, and now it's the turbine generator. So all sorts of really awesome buildings. It's on a waterfront. So I mean, it's a very visually stimulating level.
And what are you working on? Any other game modes?
Yeah, so the 3 game modes we have are, the one that we were playing here today is just the standard control point. There's also, like, the mining camp is an attack defense game mode, so you're pushing through it and, you know, having to retreat back depending on which team you're on. And then we also are just going to have the kind of a team deathmatch where all the upgrades are available to everyone, and it's really just run and gun, shoot 'em up, you know.
One of the elements when you're playing as the commander I really liked is when you're unlocking new weapons, you don't just unlock the weapon and then everyone has it. You actually set what weapon teams start with. How did you guys come up with that?
It was actually just by mistake. You know, we were wanting to make sure the commander had a lot to do so that it doesn't get boring, and it have that strategic sense to him. So listening to your team and selecting the weapons that they want is going to be a big part of that. Which you know, another part we have with the commander is the mutiny system. So let's say I'm the commander and I'm not listening to my team. I'm just doing my own thing, doing the upgrades I want, and the team doesn't like that, so they can do like what would normally be like a kick vote, but it's a mutiny vote, and that's going to allow basically everyone on your team to vote if they want to mutiny against the commander or not. Then everyone who votes for the commander gets to defend that commander, and then everyone who votes against him can kill their own commander to put the next person in line into command.
That's fascinating. So right now you guys are pretty super alpha. When can we expect to get into like some closed beta, some open beta stuff, and then do you have like a release window in mind?
Yeah, so we're looking at about 1 month, and we'll be into that closer to the end stage there. Our biggest challenge right now is just we're finishing all the art stuff for it. So a lot of the code's implemented. We just have to, like the menus are all going to be all redone right now. Everything we have is just temporary placeholder art as far as like our menus. So we're looking at a little over a month, and we'll have all that in.
And what is your release strategy and pricing model?
So we're actually starting our Kickstarter in 2 weeks from this Monday. It's going to be on the 16th. So on Kickstarter, you'll be able to pick it up for $15 for the first 1,000 people. Then it'll be $20 for everyone else. And then on release, we're looking at 25. So get it into Kickstarter, gets a little bit of a discount for you.
Excellent. Well, I really like Mist of Stagnation. You guys definitely have a really cool idea here, and I can't wait to see how you evolve it further. So yeah, make sure you guys check it out. Thank you for talking to us.
Absolutely.